Hello and welcome to WebDM. I'm Jonathan Pruitt, and to my right, as always, is Jim Davis. Today we're going to pick his brain, find out what it takes to be a DM in this 5th edition of Dungeons & Dragons. So when it comes to starting a new campaign,
right,
a DM has a choice at this point.
Yeah.
Do you go module, or do you go homebrew?
Or some combination,
Some combination.
You know, there was a time in my life when I would have been like homebrew all the way, forget the module. That modules were for suckers, that they were for DMs who didn't have the creative chops to make their own adventures, and I don't believe that anymore. The modules exist for people who don't have enough time to make their own stuff, who want to use a module as an idea generator to sort of kickstart their own game.
Yeah.
So when a DM is sort of sitting down and going, should I run a module or should I run a home game? They shouldn't feel, if they don't want to do a homebrew, that they're somehow less of a DM or not as creative as a DM or not as skilled as a DM. Just forget all about all that. Module's just a set of ideas that comes prepackaged that you can use. And it then becomes up to you how much you want to make it your own.
Starting with modules. What are your pros and cons? And also, I mean, what's the different kinds of prep?
Yeah.
You know, because it's a different beast.
So pros and cons for modules, less prep work for modules. Obviously, you're going to want to read the adventure multiple times and take notes in it, post-it notes, pencils, mark it up, write it up. And if there's something in the module that you don't like, get rid of it. If there's something you want more of, add it more in. The module is the beginning of the adventure, not the final word.
Right.
It can be a great ideas generator. Running through Rise of Tiamat, there's been plenty of times looking at a particular scenario or a problem that I can think of, oh, well, this is a great idea, let me spice it up a bit. Or what if I inserted this here? For instance, would be including a red dragon in the adventure. If you look at the number of dragons that you fight, for some reason red dragons are suspiciously absent. So you're going to want to add in your own. Otherwise, they will go through the entire Rise of Tiamat dragon fighting adventure without ever touching a red dragon necessarily.
Yeah.
I'd say another pro for the module is it's a shared experience. Being able to go online and talk to other people about how did you guys handle fighting the champion outside the gates of Greenest?
Right.
How did you guys handle rooting out the Kobold Cavern at the Caves of Chaos for Keep on the Borderlands players? That kind of shared experience builds a culture of Dungeons & Dragons. It builds cultural role-playing, lets you connect with people at your local game store. You can kind of share experiences. You can gripe, you can gloat, you can brag. And I think that that's a real value to running these modules that doesn't often get said. Maybe a final pro would be modules tend to be combat heavy. It's a pro and a con. But for players who like that kind of thing, for DMs who like a real combat-heavy game, having a module handy that you can just pick up and run, whether it's something that is meant to be played in one afternoon or over a series of games, having that kind of combat-heavy encounter can be really fun. It's also one of my cons, combat-heavy. Modules tend to be kind of combat-heavy.
Yeah, it depends on what kind of role-playing experience you're looking for. I mean, do you want a strict role-playing where you're just in the court saying your thing, you're trying to make contacts, or sometimes you just want to kick down the door? So
one thing that DMs who are running modules need to look out for is combat balance.
Yeah.
And I wish that there was a hard and fast rule that this is what what balance means. This is how you achieve it. But there's just not. And I think a lot of DMs struggle with making sure that their combat encounters are balanced. All they need to really worry about is, are they balanced for my players?
Right.
Are they balanced for the adventure I'm going to run? Not necessarily are they balanced against the entire game. And so I have a lot of sympathy for people that are writing modules because they are asked to create combat encounters that are supposed to be universal, applicable at every table.
Yeah.
And that's just never going to happen.
Yeah, it's hard to account for all of those options.
Right.
Like, because I mean, what if you have a party of all multi-class characters, like, that's so bastardized that you can't even really tell what they're supposed to be, but they're awesome
and they're having fun
playing them.
Right.
But you're not rolling in there with your standard fighter, cleric, rogue, wizard.
Right. That's one of the things as a DM, as you're reading through the modules, that you want to look out for. You want to make sure that the combat encounters work for the group that you're playing them. How hard are they going to be for that group? Chances are you're going to have to adjust them in some way, either adding or taking away monsters, creating a different kind of environment to fight in. One of the other problems with running modules is they're less customized than a homebrew game.
Yeah.
So if you have players who really like to get into the world and they really like to immerse themselves in it and enmesh their characters in the campaign, running a module can sometimes feel restricting for them. They might not care much about the scenario. or about the problem. And there's nothing necessarily wrong with that, other than now you don't have a game and kind of have to back up. What are we doing here? Why are we adventuring? And then, of course, there's just bad writing in modules.
It does happen.
I know you've played in ones where the map doesn't match the descriptions.
Oh, that's just frustrating.
Or there's just poor writing, so you're not really sure how an encounter is supposed to go down, or what the puzzle's supposed to be.
Yeah.
And it's frustrating for a player. It's frustrating for a DM. You really want to try to avoid those as much as possible.
Or, reading through the module, going ahead and identifying those problems and fixing them before you bring it to the players.
Right.
That way you can kind of hide the faults. You know?
There are stories of some DMs where they have their own PCs that they run through a module by themselves. That seems like a lot of work for me.
Yeah.
But there are people who, when they want to test out, say, how balanced an encounter is, that they run through some sample characters. I think it really depends. You can put as much work into a module as you like, but definitely read it, adjust it where you see fit, make it fit for your campaign.
Yeah, we all can't be Abed in the Dreamatorium.
Absolutely. Well, would that we could.
Yeah, would that we could. Moving on to Homebrew. What are some pros and cons of your Homebrew campaign?
So I think for Homebrew, what's going to be top on the list of pro is customization.
Yeah.
You're creating a world that this group of people is going to share, and they're going to experience it in different ways, but that there's an opportunity for everyone to become invested in the world. And this is one of those things that some DMs, the world is theirs, and just in the same way that they wouldn't tell a player how to play their character, they don't like a player wanting a stake in the world. I think that's a little limiting.
Right.
And I don't necessarily think that that's the best way to DM. I think that you should open your world up to players. Let them decide what a major organization is. Let them decide the course of a nation or the course of even just a region. It gives them a stake in the game and really sort of opens it up for everyone to have a share in that world building experience. I think probably what's really fun related to customization is creating sort of the histories and the organizations and the backgrounds of the world. You can draw on anything that strikes your fancy, whatever media or literature or whatever that you enjoy, you can incorporate that somehow into your game. Really lets the DMs flex their creativity in a way that maybe a lot of people don't have an opportunity to. Maybe creating a world is their version of writing a short story or drawing or whatever it is that they like to do.
Because this is a shared storytelling experience. I mean,
Right.
you're creating your own choose your own adventure as you're playing it.
You're playing it, yeah.
That's the beauty of role playing.
Yeah.
It's not just a board game.
Absolutely.
It's a storytelling. You're sitting around the campfire.
And for the people who like to come up with a story ahead of time and sort of work through a plot, creating their own worlds can be really fun. For people who like to just have a scenario or two and see what happens and not have anything plotted out from the beginning, still a great way to do it. Still a great way to incorporate what you love most about the game while leaving out what you don't.
So what are some of the cons?
So there's a lot of homework involved in creating your own game world. You're going to need random tables. You're going to need descriptions of locations, even if it's just something that you've thought about and not necessarily written down. That can take a lot of work, creating your own world. And if you're also creating your own world and creating your own campaign to take place in it, that can be double work.
Yeah.
And a lot of that can be very intimidating for new DMs.
Yeah.
There's two approaches to creating your own world. There's sort of a top-down, I'm going to write out everything possible that I can about this country and this group and that group, and just have it all mapped out so that it's all there ready for the players. I kind of think you're doing a lot of work that might never get a payoff.
Right.
So I much prefer the bottom-up method where pick a starting location. Better yet, have everyone agree on a starting location. As part of group character creation, say, all right, I'm thinking about you guys are starting out in this location. Maybe it's a trade city on a major river. Maybe it's a small coastal village, whatever. What do you guys think? How do you guys see your characters fitting in there? And then let the campaign grow organically. When you guys need to move to a different location, that's when you adjust it.
But yeah, there's no reason to come up with every town and the population of that town and what kind of system of government, what kind of system of finance, what kind of,
you can do that, and there's certainly...
I do like doing that, but
at the same time, that's a lot of work. One of the major cons of running a homebrew game is that it's difficult to release control to the players. That you get attached to your creation, you get attached to your world. That can be a real problem, because there might be times whenever a player idea is just better, or fits better for the campaign.
I mean, you should try to integrate your PC into the game as much as possible, right? I mean, that's just a free resource of ideas.
Yeah.
I mean, you're just saying, even though you're creative and I'll let you play with me, I don't want your ideas other than your fighter barbarian that has a 20 strength.
Yeah.
That's as much as you get to add to
That's
this
as much
game.
you get to add. And you know, maybe for some players that's as much as they want to add. But the door should be left open for the players who want to contribute more, even if they do so gradually or in fits and starts. They don't necessarily shouldn't feel cut out from the game. You know, some of the best plots that I've come up with and some of the best scenarios I've come up with have been, here's a problem. As a DM, I have no idea how it should be solved. And just watching the players work it out and think out loud and come up with ideas, there have been so many times I've been like, that's a way better idea than I thought of, stealing it. And you don't necessarily tell anybody. That's sort of the dirty secret of DMing, is you just take it and never, and it was always this way.
Oh, yeah.
You know?
I'm surprised that y'all figured it out so quickly.
Geniuses. And so having that level of interaction between DM and player, they can become involved in the world and make it and make the game more memorable and enjoyable for everyone involved, not just for one or two people, but for everybody.
All right, Jim, so we spend money on these books.
Right.
And the DM enforces the rules.
Sure.
But what happens when the book doesn't have the exact rule you need, and you got to house rule it?
You got to house rule.
What's your thought process for that?
So with a newer system like D&D 5th, I try to house rule as little as possible. I want to see how the rules work. I want to see how they fit together. I want to see what problems come up in actual play and not on the internet. There have been a lot of times where read something online, it's like, oh, this spell or this ability is a huge problem and we need to deal with it. And it's like, that has never been a problem for my game. So I only house rule things that I know are going to be problems. Try not to do too much proactiveness. But that said, you know, there are some things that end up getting house ruled by default.
Yeah.
This would be like encumbrance, rations. When was the last time we looked at your character and we were like, how spoiled are those 2 weeks rations?
Right.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Thanks again for watching WebDM. We're going to have new ones every Wednesday. Tell your friends. Come back next week.